Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Wrestling Forever. This is the wrestling podcast you didn't just want. It's the one you bloody needed. I'm Billy fucking Kirkwood. Relax. I've never heard of me either, but you will have heard of my broadcast colleague, Ryan Fitzsimons here, not only my co-host on the show here at Wrestling Forever, the beating heart of Wrestling Forever, the veins, the sinews, the brains, the spine of the top commentary team for Insane Championship Wrestling, but also the host of the #1 Celtic podcast. #1, I'm throwing it up. The #1 Celtic podcast. Ryan, how the bloody hell are you?
It is good to be back, Billy, and thank you, as always, for the very kind, very generous introduction. What I will say, after a gluttonous Christmas period, the beating heart / veins / arteries of Ryan 118 might be no more. So I wouldn't count that for too long.
I am right there with you. I need to have a real word with myself.
Oh, no, trust me. Me and a gym membership have to have a one-to-one, a heart-to-heart tomorrow night in some kitchen, pished at 3 a.m. because this needs to end, quite frankly.
I won't lie. You know when you get bought brand new tops and you put them on, you go, this is a bit snug.
Yeah.
I think now is the time to start having a word with yourself.
Trust me.
You're going to see an all-new Billy in 2025, especially as I'm going to be entering the Square Goal, which I'm not.
I mean, imagine the scenes if you did. I would love to see it. So don't tease me like that, Mr. Kirkwood. But I hope you had a good festive period.
I did have a lovely festive period, actually. And one thing we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks, a couple of things wrestling related. First of all, you can't see it here, but I got a new wrestling belt.
Oh yes.
May I?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Show us. I need to see it. This is. I've only been shown one photograph so far. That is stunning.
It's the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Now, I have to say before anyone sends in a letter, I know it's not the highest quality one you can get. I know the grooves don't go in as high, but I don't tell you something. It's only going to go up in my wall, which I'm going to sort out. I'm not like you. You've got a wonderful display case.
What is? That is God. So was this a gift or did you treat yourself?
This was a gift from my good lady wife.
That is
good lady wife. She has bought me 2 wrestling belts in my life: the original Intercontinental Championship and now the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Which I've got to say, do you remember that bit where everyone was giving Cody Rhodes a hard time for holding the belt like this?
Oh yeah, I heard people were saying, "Oh, he's never held a title before."
This feels like how you should hold this.
That is how a champion holds his belt. That is how it's done.
It like a baby.
Yep, exactly. But that's the perfect belt for it. I feel like that belt was made to be held like a child, like a small sentient being.
It's a beauty. I love the dome.
The dome is just glorious, isn't it?
I will say one thing though. We'll get this out of the way now. So it's got the international flags on the side of it, which I like. I really like. But it also has one for Canada, and for some reason it's got this on it.
Okay.
I have no idea what that is.
There must be some historical context to.
I hope so. I don't think anyone's got it that wrong.
The history, Canada flag history. There has to be an explanation for this. Yeah, so that used to be the flag of Canada.
Oh, well,
there you go. So that was the flag of Canada, I think, until the 1960s, Billy.
Harley Race. This is the one that Harley Race held. But Ryan, we're on the podcast every week. We normally take a little rundown of what we're liking, disliking. But we thought we'd take a look back at 2024 because we're a brand new podcast. We are but an infant. We are wet behind the ears. We are just learning, but we've got some big plans for 2025 and we're excited. But we wanted to look back on one of the most interesting years in wrestling. And we're doing it in a very unique way. What are we doing, Ryan?
So let's just cut to the chase here. We are going to look back at 2024 in its entirety and rate every single WWE, as they now call it, PLE, from best to worst. Now, I will bring up our graphic in a moment, our on-screen aid to get us through this, but I just want to make 2 things very, very clear. Number 1, no shade to AEW. We will revisit what they're doing, and obviously they have just wrapped up the year with World's End at the weekend, so we're a bit out of... Yes, go on.
I know they want an off-season, but I love myself after Christmas PLE.
Oh, so do I. I think it's got one's got to be there. And thing number 2 is happy Christmas to everybody that celebrated and whatnot, and Merry New Year when it comes. But what I will say is we're back now, and I know this is maybe a wee bit overdue, and we haven't had a podcast in the last week or so, but we're going to make it all worthwhile today, Billy, aren't we?
Totally.
So,
exactly,
it's been a busy period. Yep, well, trust me, there has been a lot of football, but there's also a lot of wrestling to talk about through the year of 2024, and I am bringing up our graphic on screen now, which is our tier list to rank every WWE PLE that starts, of course, at the Royal Rumble back in January, all the way to... I know that Saturday night's main event is technically not a PLE, but we're going to include it anyway, because I don't know about you, Billy, but it felt like a PLE.
I enjoyed it, man. I really, really enjoyed it.
Right, okay, so here, let's get a couple of ground rules out the way. So, number one is we have our rows that start from Hall of Fame all the way to Never Watch Again. It's self-explanatory. You know how this works. If you liked it, it goes to the top. If you didn't like it, it goes to the bottom. But we cannot put a PLE in either the top or bottom category if we don't both agree. So, for talking sakes, Billy, if you thought that Clash at the Castle was a Hall of Fame pay-per-view, but I don't agree, we're not allowed to put it in Hall of Fame. And the same goes for Never Watch Again. So we can play about with the middle ones, but we need to both agree for any to go in the top or bottom tier. Right, okay, on that note, are you ready to take it back?
Are we starting for the Rumble?
We are going to start from the Rumble, Billy, and because I've been talking a hell of a lot, air your opinions on the 2024 Royal Rumble.
Well, do you know the Royal Rumble, a lot like ICW's Square Go, MLW's Battle Riot? I love myself a well-done Riot, a well-done Rumble. It can set up new feuds. It can dictate the pace for the forthcoming year. It really, really can. This year, well, we didn't know what was going to happen, really, because we were kind of like, is Cody going to get the second shot? Punk coming back and being a part of the Rumble, it should have gone a different way, but sadly he picked up the injury, but was still great as being a part of the show. I enjoyed this because they seem to a real realigning in WWE. People talk about the Triple H era. For me, it kind of started at the Royal Rumble. Like, truly, I think it felt like it really kicked in. You saw his guys and his places, the movements that he was wanting to make in his place. Could you remind me of the card a little bit?
Of course, outside of the Royal Rumble matches for men and women, this was only a 4-match card, Billy. We only had 2 matches in between,
and that was a 4-match card.
It was the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Championship between Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton, and then the United States Championship match between Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. So it was a very small card. They juiced out those 2 Rumble matches to over an hour each, and we got up the road pretty quickly, I would say, once it finished. I'll get my opinion out of the way. I, at the time, was fine with this. I enjoyed it. I came out the Rumble going, that was fun. I love Cody pointing at Roman. I didn't think we were going to hear about Punk being injured for months afterwards, so I was still just in an absolute euphoria of Punk being back in a WWE ring. I enjoyed it. I think as time has went on, I think it's maybe showed the need to maybe bring the Rumble to 2 nights. I know that's not a...
There's been a lot of talk about it.
It's apparently in the works to happen from like 2026 onwards. And I can see why, because I don't mind a 4-match card, but both of the matches, if you remember, were rather rushed and very predictable. We knew Roman was going to win. We knew Logan was going to win. So... I don't know about you, Billy. My initial reaction, and you can tell me if you want to think we can move it up or down. I think the Rumble was just good. It wasn't amazing, wasn't terrible. It was good. I'm
happy to go with that for the very same reasons. This was coming towards the end of Roman Reigns' reign, if you like.
That's right.
We were kind of getting like, but he's not going to lose it till Mania.
Yeah.
And I think that's a tricky place for a champion to be. Don't get me wrong, and Mania was exciting. What if he doesn't lose? What if he doesn't lose? Who's he fighting next? What if he doesn't lose? But for me, it was more of a panic. Yeah, the 4-way match, I felt a little like it was kind of spunked away a little bit. I'd have watched that. I mean, that combination. LA Knight still hadn't quite become LA Knight. He needed the SummerSlam win. We'll come back to that later on. He felt out of place, and I'm a big LA Knight mark. I'm a big fan of LA Knight.
Same.
So I think going round, I have to agree. I don't think the Women's Rumble was anything to write home about.
It was nice to see Bayley win it. I think I'm just kind of, at the time, Bayley winning it and Bayley winning the title was such a big deal for me. So I'm trying to keep it all in isolation and not, because I don't think her title reign was great.
No.
But I'm trying obviously to just rank it on the pay-per-view alone. So I was a big fan of Bayley winning, but I agree it wasn't. Jordan Grace turning up though, that was pretty good.
Well, fingers crossed we're going to be seeing Jordan next year.
That's right.
If rumours are to be believed, she's incoming. But yeah, there was some lovely surprises in that. I didn't think the women's one was particularly good. I didn't think... Do you know the men's one had a lot of drama and unpredictability about it? I think good is fair. I think it was a good Royal Rumble. It is such a fucking hard pay-per-view to do because you do set the precedent of who's going to be the surprises.
Yep.
Is there going to be any surprises? I mean, I've fallen into that trap like everyone else. I've sat there watching the Royal Rumble going, I wonder who the surprise is going to be. And then there isn't any because they haven't signed any big names. You can't
force a surprise.
Coco Beware every year. Exactly.
Imagine that, Coco Beware coming out in the 2025 Royal Rumble.
Fucking with the Birdman, I'd fucking love that.
He looks great, to be fair. I seen him recently. I was like, oh my god, he's looking fantastic for his age. But yeah,
he's a Hall of Famer. I keep forgetting he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's right. I enjoyed it. It was a good way to kick off the year, but there's definitely room for improvement, Billy. That's had some hope. Where we did go from there was to Perth, Australia, because we had Elimination Chamber up next, which was such a big night for Rhea Ripley, of course, who ended up main eventing this show. She was in the main event for the Women's Championship against Nia Jax. Highlights of the show included Drew McIntyre winning the Elimination Chamber match. Judgment Day retained their tag team championships while Finn and Damien were still a team. Becky Lynch won the Women's Elimination Chamber match to fight Rhea at WrestleMania. If you remember rightly, Billy, they actually just didn't try at all with that. Like, they basically admitted that was the Mania match before any of these matches took place on the night. They faced off on the stage, and it's like you should have just let it like play out rather than spoiling it.
I enjoyed. You know, I enjoyed the spectacle of this. I enjoyed the spectacle of it, but again, it was a show that I found myself going like, I'll probably catch the highlights of this. There was nothing that really jumped out at me. Great to see Rhea get her flowers in its own respect, showing that she is a top draw and a true star. Little worried right now. They need to work to kind of make sure that still stays on track. I think it feels like things are plateauing a little bit, so we need to get that back on track. Just a tad. But I've got to say, hand on heart, happy for Drew to get his moment. Was excited to see Drew in the mix because I think we kind of thought like he was maybe going to get fucked on Mania. Like I kind of thought he was going to get fucked. I really genuinely did, and it did. I guess he did kind of. But he also had 3 of the hottest matches and probably the feud of the year later on in the year. So you know. I've got to say, hand on heart, man. This is mid for me.
Mid. I do you know what? I've seen people say sometimes, guys, you just agree with each other, but I think we're pretty aligned, and I must admit, it doesn't deserve to be higher than mid for me. And you hit the nail on the head as to why. I don't think that a pay-per-view can be better than mid if you genuinely go, I'll catch it tomorrow. Because if it's better than mid, you want to see it live. You will watch it live no matter what. And for this, you could catch it later on.
It's an accusation that could be chucked at WWE this year, right? I know everyone's going to go, how dare you? Uncle Paul's the best. Like, I get that. But they can chuck a filler PLE at you, which is more than entertaining, which is like the Fast and the Furious movies. Yeah. They're fun to watch, but they're not going to change your life. They're not going to change anything. The next movie, fucking Vin Diesel's going to turn up and go, fam and all that and try and emote and what have you. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just there.
They're just there. And you can watch them or you can skip them and go to the next one without missing much.
That's it. No one's ever turned around and went, you know my favourite movie? Fast and the Furious 7. Haven't even seen the first 6. No one's ever said it. And for me, Elimination Chamber is Fast and the Furious. It's mid.
because the match quality was great. I thought both chamber matches really delivered. I really enjoyed the tag match with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, really getting to show off what they could do. And maybe the main event didn't hit the same heights, but Rhea was still great. It was just a mid show. It was a mid show, but it was enjoyable for what it was.
Felt like a big house show in a stadium.
Yeah,
which is not great. It's not
great. Exactly. Anyway, I'm going to do something a bit perverse here, Billy, and we're going to leave WrestleMania until the end, because WrestleMania is the big one, isn't it? It's the one that everybody wants to hear about. We're going to come back to WrestleMania. We're going to jump to Backlash France, which was, of course, the first post-WrestleMania PLE, the first pay-per-view without Roman Reigns going in as champion in 4 years. So the landscape was changing massively. It was a hot European... I mean, Billy, if we were judging this on crowd alone, that would be a Hall of Fame show, because it is...
They were great.
Arguably the best crowd in wrestling history. If we're judging it on wrestling, I thought it was a solid night. It was a night in which... I've always had this opinion, Billy, and I don't know if you'll agree. I think that Backlash is probably the most difficult pay-per-view of the year to handle, because you're coming fresh off the back of WrestleMania, mostly where championships are changing and stories are coming to an end. So you're just kind of getting going again here. And for example, Cody Rhodes isn't going to go and lose his title 3-4 weeks after winning it. Or none of the new champions are going to lose their titles 3 or 4 weeks after winning it. But we got one of the greatest matches of the modern era between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. We got a solid match between Damian Priest and Jey Uso, which started off his title reign quite well. And there was another couple of good things that happened on this show. I enjoyed myself at Backlash, Billy.
Well, Backlash historically has been quite a good pay-per-view. You know, we will see it. Sometimes it's where they have dropped WrestleMania rematches, which are never necessarily that exciting for the reasons you stated. No one's going to drop the title. But I've seen some great matches about, and like you say, the crowd carried us through. This was the start of that international thing of crowds just being fucking incredible. Like, we'd heard about Glasgow, people had seen London and all this type of thing, and we knew there was more of these coming later on in the year. And the French, who were genuinely excited to get their first PLE, was it ever, right? I think it was. It was. It
was. Yep, that's right. Yeah, no, it was, because they had one in they had Raws in like Germany. And stuff like that. This was like the first PLE to ever come to France, I believe, and they took it with both hands.
Legitimately buzzing with this brand new era of wrestling, which was exploding as well. So you're going to get a lot of casual fans there. You're going to get people that have watched Monday Night Raw, that have just fucking watched WrestleMania. They are buzzing. It's why WWE used to do tours, European tours, straight after Mania, because those crowds are like ravenous. And I thought this was a great show. I don't know, because it's a tricky one, because for me this is, outside of Mania, the first PLE maybe of the year to have some matches that are like, these are proper good ones.
Yes. Cody and AJ is just like, Cody and AJ will go down as I think as a classic. We were talking about it for years to come.
I wanted to see more of that. I genuinely wanted to see more Cody and AJ. I just want to see more of AJ Styles, to be honest.
I can't wait till he's injury free again.
Just fucking like, I don't know what to do with him, but we need to do something with him. Put him back with Omos. Put him back with Omos on the title.
Soon his ankle will heal and it will be great. But where would you put this, Billy? I sort of lean. I think it was good, to be honest. I kind of put it in there. I don't think it was any better than that. I certainly think it was better than Elimination Chamber. So I think I lean to the good category.
It lifts itself. For me, it's like it leans towards great.
Oh, you lean it. So you would say it's better than the Rumble anyway.
Yes, I would certainly say it's better than Rumble.
Right.
Maybe not as an important pay-per-view, which is fair, because it has a couple of really good fucking matches on it. This could move potentially as we go on, but I think I want to stick it at good just now,
right?
Because again, we've seen it before with crowds of elevated matches, and it's such an important thing. It is such an important thing. The crowd do not get enough credit sometimes. I mean, it's certainly lifted. It's lifted those early days of AEW when they were just trying to find their feet, you know.
Exactly.
But
it plays such a huge role, and I guess the beauty of a video like this is, at the end, we might move it. It could potentially be up and great when we see it. So
great start for Cody.
It's a great start for Cody. It's a great start for Cody. Sadly, his next match wasn't as great, I would say, because we jumped to the King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view. It was one of the Saudi Arabian pay-per-views where we crowned King Gunther, we crowned Queen Nia Jax. It was Becky Lynch's last PLE match, I believe, and I
think she made a. Did she make a?
She had a Raw match. Yeah, she made a Raw match. The steel cage with Dom slamming the door on her face. That was her last ever appearance. I think this was her last PLE appearance. Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul was the pointless WWE Championship match. Remember, they'd done that whole, we could do it for both titles, and then it wasn't for both titles because they realised none of this makes sense. Billy, I'm going to kick us off very, very quickly, and I'm not going to go drastic here. I thought it was pretty bad.
Man, they have, out of these pay-per-views, they have fucking struggled to have some good ones. Like, they really, like, there's been some that are better than others. Arguably, this is probably one of the better ones, but that's faint praise, I'm afraid. I'm going to say Gunther winning.
That was the highlight of the show for me. Gunther becoming King of the Ring. That was huge. I loved that. But Nia
as Queen, I thought was really good as well. I
enjoyed it.
I couldn't think of anyone else to get that role. Do you know what I mean? And how did she wrestle in the final again? It was quite an odd choice.
It was Lyra Valkyria, who had just been brought up from NXT.
Big fan.
Who has now disappeared.
Yeah. Big fan. Bad position. Look forward to seeing you back on NXT, Lyra.
Do you know what one of my major gripes? Sorry to cut you off, Billy. One of my biggest gripes of this pay-per-view was it was a good match. I loved it. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed for the Intercontinental Championship, and there was no way that they could strip Sami of the title that early. But this was one of these matches that I think contributed to really burying Chad Gable when he was in a hot position, and that irritated me a wee bit.
It irritates me a bit where Chad is now, to be honest. Because I feel like they've really cooled him off, and it's like I fucking hope this is leading to something. Like, I really, really do. They've given you this brilliant faction, these incredible wrestlers, but this was a point. I don't see what Chad did that they could not have put the title on him.
I think that the whole. The fact that Sami had just won it, I think really, it was damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because if they put it on Chad, it would be like, great, but then they would have been like, but Sami held it for about 5 minutes. So they were in a real tough position. But listen, I think we'll talk more about it when we get to Clash at the Castle. But
I think Sami could have took the loss. It's like Dusty Rhodes.
Probably. He's so big.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes was always great when he was chasing the title, but never had particularly long reigns with the championship. Yeah. And I think Sami, listen to me fucking talking like I was alive. But well, from what I've read on the internet,
got off second-hand opinions here, but it still works.
But when I've seen it, I just I went back and watched the Starcade when he wins it. The place is going fucking mental. Ric Flair is champion again within about 2 months. He is. And I don't know. I don't think it would have been a bad one for Chad to steal this to elevate him. I think
Bronson.
Or Bronson. I look at if this match had been 2 months later, I'd have said give Bronson the title.
I probably agree with that.
Maybe 4 months later, but give the big man the title. Again, it kind of contributes to how I feel about this. I didn't come away. Again, I fucking hate a pay-per-view that feels like a house show. I'm not a big fan of these Saudi shows. I'm going to level with you. Geographically where it is. There's always something that feels a little bit less.
WWE don't take them as seriously, I think, as the normal PLEs.
Yeah. They feel cold. Do you know what it is?
Yeah. They just don't feel right.
So fucking cold. And it just feels like everyone's going through, and I know everyone wouldn't be, and I'm not speaking badly of the wrestlers. This could potentially become a mid, I guess, potentially in theory. But I'm going to say it bad because I'm just not feeling these. Again, it falls. Backlash is elevated because of the crowd and a couple of really stonking matches on it. But this is an example of a bad PLE for me, a bad international filler PLE.
The next one is one that I think that you have very strong opinions on, Billy, and it takes us back to June of this year. ICW ran a fantastic 2-night after-hours event in the Asylum, where none other than Drew actually turned up, of course. But before all of that, we had Clash at the Castle in Glasgow. Billy, you hinted at your opinions of it a little bit earlier in this video, so I'll let you kick us off with this one.
I've got mixed opinions on this because this is quite a cloudy period for me as well, because first of all, I was calling wrestling matches 10 days out of surgery and I'd only got the all clear from cancer that day, so very mixed. So you'd think I'd be on cloud 9. Yeah, I wasn't. Again, this was a weird thing, and I didn't like WWE doing this, and this is going to come back and smack them in the balls. See this whole like hot crowd thing? Oh, the French crowd, fantastic. Can't wait till we get to Glasgow. They might have even said that on shows, and it needs to be natural. Like, don't fucking do that.
Don't push it.
Yeah, don't push it. You're just not going to be amazing and cheer for everything. Particularly a Glaswegian audience, I can tell you that right now. They like what they like. Don't fucking turn up and try and half-arse it. Like, really, really don't. And for me, this, first of all, financially, fucking get your fingers out. Like, how fucking ridiculous amount of money.
I paid, I don't know if I ever told you how much I paid for this as a 2-night
let's have it.
And I was sitting at the fucking top of the building, Billy, and my 2-night ticket was 320 quid.
Oh!
Which is, it's minging, isn't it? It's absolutely minging.
Fucking, for the Hydro!
Yep, for the Hydro. For the Hydro.
Fuck that, for something you could watch on your phone! Fuck, man!
Listen, I have FOMO, Billy, and you need to let me away with it.
I get that. I had it. I had it all day long.
Yep.
I could have got tickets. Like, I could have got tickets. I chose not to. Hey, fuck, I could have been there as a seat filler if I fucking wanted. Might be me just sitting behind Michael Cole, shaking my head. And I love Michael Cole. I wouldn't do that. I'd be trying to. I
love Cole.
Apparently, he smells nice. So I'm told. But the pay per view in general, apart from the girls winning the women's tag team championships, which was a great moment for Scotland. Soon as I saw that happen, and I went, Drew's not winning.
Drew's losing.
Drew is losing. And I don't think, hand on heart, and it blew my mind when people were going, no, Drew's going to win. Drew's going to win. I can't believe he didn't win. It's like, why did you think he was going to win? Like, I know sometimes we need the suspension of disbelief. Just go along with the ride. That's why I don't tweet during wrestling shows. I don't, I know comedians and other people and what have you, and they'll be like, oh, I can't believe this match. They're like tweeting on everything, and I understand it's an important thing. I really do. But I choose not to. If I'm tweeting, I'm not enjoying the show or trying to remain relevant. This show in general, I just thought, again, felt like a fucking house show. They gave us a fucking house show with some big angles. I will say that much to them. Giving the girls the tag team championships, I was delighted about, but then did nothing with them. That was an opportunity for you to push and create a brand new combo that you desperately need in that division. Still do.
Yep.
Still do. And I know that the girls are still in that division.
And now it feels like they've just kind of let them fade to the back until it's their next turn again.
Exactly.
Which will probably be the next time they're in Glasgow.
Probably. Fucking hell. Probably one will win the US, one will win the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I just feel like they need to be creating acts. They need to be creating people, things we get excited about. I don't think they've done that with Alba. And, sorry, Alba, I'm doing it again. No, it's Alba. Sorry.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Don't doubt yourself, son.
I get Idris Elba and Alba confused all the fucking time.
Two very similar looking individuals, Billy. Very similar looking.
Exactly. I've called Idris Elba. I've done it. I just did it there. Idris Elba. Anyway,
yes.
Enough of that. Yes. What a great idea for a manager. The pay-per-view itself, I thought, was only basic, I'm afraid to say. Loved Drew versus Damien.
Right.
Loved the angle of Punk, I've got to say. Absolutely loved it. Drew.
Great for Glasgow.
For me, Drew was hitting a different level round about here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was like maybe peak of the year for him, Billy, in terms of especially his off-screen work. Like on social media, he was hitting the high notes.
And I don't think I make any secret about it. I'm Drew's biggest fan. I think he's fucking incredible. I do. And the fact I don't think. I mean, he said that. I don't think there's anyone gone through the evolution in the modern era that he has, apart from maybe Punk. And even then, I think it's something very, very different. Like, for
They're
me,
different entities, and I think that's what makes them individually great.
I do. And that was great. Not winning was fucking phenomenal. But beyond that, we're talking a couple of things.
Yeah, listen, I went to 3 PLEs this year. I was so lucky. I never thought I'd see any year of my life where I would be able to say I went to 3 WWE PLEs in 1 year. There was a point in time where that just seemed like an utter ludicrous thing to say.
Thank you, somehow, Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, and I managed to do it. Thanks to Brendan Rodgers. And not Clash was. I don't want to use the word worst, but Clash was the weakest of the 3.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, out of the 3 that I went to, it was because granted, one was fucking WrestleMania, right? But still, Clash was the weakest.
Buzzing when we met later on that night.
Yeah,
you weren't buzzing about it.
It was fine. It was good in person, but I can only imagine watching it at home. You'd be a bit like, oh wait, hold on, hello, hey, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. Like, I'll continue through what I was saying.
Please do.
I can only imagine watching it at home didn't feel as good as when you're in the arena. You're experiencing it live. And for that reason, for me, Billy, it was mid, I would say. I loved the Punk angle. I wish there was a way they could make Drew champion on the night and go from there. But I suppose they kind of booked themselves into a lot of corners, I felt, with that, because it would then mean Priest would lose, and there was just so much going on at the time.
Yeah.
It was fine, but I expect the next Clash at the Castle to be better, put it that way. Billy, what this pay-per-view done really well was play on the emotion of the crowd, because I have never, and maybe that's just Glaswegians, maybe that's just Scottish folk in general, right? But I watched grown adults demanding refunds gone out the door. I've never seen that at a wrestling event in my life. I watched people refuse to leave their seat until a match was restarted. Samantha Irvin was booed out of the building when she was saying cheerio, and I have never seen it. I left laughing because I'm like, guys, it's wrestling. We all know that it's not real by now, but that's what this show done. And I think that WWE, one positive thing to say about Clash at the Castle was, from being there both nights, SmackDown and at the pay-per-view itself, they done a really good job at making it feel special, even though the match card and the results maybe didn't do that justice. It felt like a special event. It felt like WWE was here for the first time ever. And I mean, like, you would think there was no house shows or anything here before. It felt really special. Money in the Bank was up next, and this was a strange one. The whole overarching story of the night was, of course, with, once again, Drew, because it was the summer of Drew. He won Money in the Bank, cashed in the same night, and Punk cost him, which raised a lot of controversy online. I personally loved it. I thought it was great. I don't know about you, but I really did like it. And the rest of the card included Sami Zayn beating Braun Breaker, Damien Priest beat Rollins, of course, with Punk coming in and costing Drew's cash in. Tiffany Stratton won the female version of the Money in the Bank, and the main event was the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton. Billy, kick us off, mate.
Well, here's the thing, right? This pay-per-view has storytelling all the way through it.
Yep.
And so part of me. No. This has. Oh my God, it's Drew. Has storytelling all the way through it. And so people were given like Punk hard time and WWE hard time because Drew wasn't getting the win.
Yep.
But what was the one thing Drew wanted more than anything was to be World's Heavyweight Champion. CM Punk wanted to be World's Heavyweight Champion, and he was delayed that because of Drew, who then threw it in his face. So how do you get back at someone? You take away the opportunity of the thing they want, not what they have, the thing they want. And so that's what's great about this. This is just loaded with storytelling. Seth Rollins being in the mix as well, fantastic. So I enjoyed this because there was the continuous storytelling through the main event matches for me. Through the main event matches.
Do you know what I would say about this show?
I had a good opening Money in the Bank. I'll say that as well.
I thought it was one of the best Money in the Bank matches in recent times. I really liked it. I mean, they always deliver with the Money in the Bank matches. I remember I was there in London the year prior, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
This show was great for me up until it was the wrong main event. I don't think that they done too much throughout the year of this whole the Bloodline versus the same combination of people.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, Roman's coming back tonight, or maybe even Rock. None of them came back.
Yes.
None of them came back. Solo walked, and do you know what? That was good to flip the coin here. That was good for Solo. He needed that. He needed a moment where he actually felt legitimate rather than everything being overshadowed by Roman and The Rock. But not in the main event of the show. I just thought it was the wrong main event. It killed the night for me early. For me, they could have ended the night with Tiffany Stratton holding that briefcase up, and we didn't need the last match. So up until that,
that's a great point. Actually, that's a great point.
Up until that, I thought it was a great show, and the main event just kind of killed it flat for me a bit.
Yeah, this feels like this should be good for me.
Okay. I'm happy with it. Where would you put it? Would you put it above Backlash, below Backlash?
Ooh,
I would probably lean towards above, just for the whole Punk and Drew stuff.
Yeah, this had more storytelling in it, and a couple of corking matches, a couple of really corking matches on it. This felt like the first pay-per-view to probably progress things properly after WrestleMania. Yes, I know we're getting 3 hours on Raw every week, and we're getting 2 hours of SmackDown. There's 5 hours worth of television. I totally get that. A lot of the work's been done there. But in terms of the payoffs, this felt like we were getting some big payoffs. Because even then, Punk was still a kind of unknown factor. Like, what's happening with Punk? Is he back yet? Has he been cleared? Right. That's where I put it. And Money in the Bank is hard for me because I think in essence, I feel like it's been done.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that as well. I think it needs a break. Even if they made it like... I've always been a fan of the idea of it even being bi-yearly, so every 2 years we get it. Because it feels like it's just getting rushed every time now. Even
at the square goal, which ICW has, which is round about, the start of the year Rumble time.
Yeah,
I get why they get a briefcase there. It's different. It is different. You can cash that in any time over the year. You can cash in Collie, but a couple of people have called the big matches. I'm having the match at Fear and Loathing. I'm having the main event at Fear and Loathing. I'm having the main event at whatever, right? I'm a big... I actually quite like that.
Yeah, same.
I actually quite like that. So I would say... I think this is above. I think this has to be above Backlash.
SummerSlam was up next.
Yes.
And I liked SummerSlam. I thought it was good. They'd done a lot of the things that you expected to see happen on this show, which included LA Knight finally winning a championship. That came up. Braun Breaker dethroned Sami Zayn. That was expected. Gunther won the World Heavyweight Championship once again. That was sort of expected. And then they sprinkled in some kind of wee surprises and stuff as well, like Liv Morgan and the heel turn with Dom Mysterio happened and all of that. And Punk and Drew had their first dance, Billy. I was a big fan of SummerSlam this year. I don't know about you.
I'm a big SummerSlam mark. I'm a big... I like me a Royal Rumble, and I like me a SummerSlam. I like me a SummerSlam because these always... Do you know something? They always just have loads of energy. They just have loads and loads of energy, and it's harder to get caught up. And it's the new... and the feuds are just... The matches are always good. The feuds are just always that little bit of in between. We're far enough away from WrestleMania that we're tackling new shit. Like, the first time Edge and Matt Hardy wrestled was at a SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. And that could have been a Mania match. And they kicked the shit out of each other. There's enough that when someone loses, it doesn't hurt them. It just takes it on to the next chapter. Gets you excited for what's coming next. Loads of great matches on this. Loads of things that sometimes wrestling fans, yes, we like a surprise, but we also like to get what we expect.
Exactly.
And we got that with Gunther, who had lost the Intercontinental Championship. It was his time. Damien had been elevated by the title. I want to make this clear. I don't think he was a good fit for champion at that point, but it needed to happen. Now I want to see Damian Priest win the title. Right?
It was like at this point in the reign when he lost it that I was like, damn, he done pretty well there.
I was just kind of getting into it.
Yeah,
but it's enough like, who was it? It's like Taker won the title at WrestleMania and then he lost it at SummerSlam. That's just the right amount of time. Sometimes I think that if you're gonna have
not every title reign needs to be 4 years long or even a year long, Billy. Yeah. Some can be a nice 120-day reign or a 90-day reign, and you can read a lot about somebody. I think in a 90-day title reign, to be honest.
Yeah, keep it moving, keep the title moving. Big fan of that. Yeah, this was loaded with loads of energy, good shows, and there's just always a fucking energy about it. Even the soap opera, even the drama of Dom and Rhea and Liv.
I loved it.
Just like, they got the big payoff and we all went, of course he's a fucking scumbag.
At that point of the whole rivalry, things were still... I think now they became a little bit drawn out, and I'm hoping that Netflix might be the end of it all. But at this point, it was still fresh, it was still good, and that heel turn, or I can't even call it a heel turn, it was already a heel.
Like
that double heel turn was just so... It was something that I hadn't seen in wrestling in a long time, and sometimes I like the whole boyfriend-girlfriend drama, just as long as it's not overplayed and cringy. And I think right back at the start anyway, they've done it really well with them, I thought.
Yes, completely, and I've got to say, like, Dominic Mysterio might be my third on my Mount Rushmore of this year for talents in WWE, because I just think he's so fucking good, and if he won a good showing at the Rumble, like if he won something, and he's gonna, he has to one day. He needs, if that man right there puts on 20 pounds of muscle, he could become WWE champion.
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to be champ one day. It might not be in the next couple of years, but it's going to happen. He's so young, so...
He is and he's so fucking good.
He's amazing.
He plays the social media game really well, and everyone that watches went, oh my God, he, in storyline, threw it up Rhea. And now he, which is a horrible way of putting it.
One of the very few people that keep kayfabe so seriously alive at this point as well.
Oh yeah,
very few.
And kudos to Buddy Matthews as well.
Yeah.
Kudos to Buddy Matthews. It shows you what a fantastic relationship they must have. Do you know what I mean?
That's right. Must be good.
I just liked it. Had a bit of everything. Took me all the way back to Summerslam.
And of course, Roman returned as well at the end, which was huge.
The Roman return, like it's interesting. You brought it up with the last pay-per-view that there was a couple of pay-per-views that were kind of had a little bit of a shadow over them. Like, this is where The Rock's going to come back.
Yeah.
This is where Roman's coming back. And I found it a little bit of a distraction, personally.
I thought it did as well, because my mates will famously tell you, I'm not a massive I love him, he's great, amazing, but I'm not like I'm not a Bloodline stan by any stretch of the imagination. So like I get kind of tired out by it, but I think at SummerSlam, when it got it done and out the way, I was like, oh, thank God, finally. And I suppose they've done it well at that pay-per-view. Billy, so we don't yap too long, I would say SummerSlam was pretty great, to be honest.
I'm happy to pop in.
I don't think I'd put it quite Hall of Fame, but I think it was great. So I'm just going to jump to... I might shock you with this, and feel free to go, no, it has to move down.
Okay.
I thought Bash and Berlin was great. I love
Bash and Berlin. Shallow over a Clash at the Castle.
Oh, 100%. As a man who was at both events, Bash and Berlin made Clash at the Castle look like a house show altogether. Not a glorified house show, just a house show. Punk and Drew's strap match, one of the best matches I've ever seen live in my life.
Loved it.
Gunther and Randy Orton had fantastic chemistry. I enjoyed the mixed tag match between Rhea, Dom, Liv, and Damien. I thought that was good. And the other two matches on the card were fun. Billy, I thought it was a great show.
This is what Clash of the Castle should have been. I'm just going to come out and say this is what it should have been. You felt like you were getting new concepts. You felt like you were getting new combos. You felt like it was progressing stuff, even though you could argue it wasn't really progressing stuff, but I felt like it was. I really enjoyed it. Great is a great place for this to be. And I've got to say, the mixed tag that was on the show was loads of fun, but the show was stolen by CM Punk giving probably his best performance since coming back into wrestling, and I'm counting AEW in that.
Wait, are you counting the next show as well?
Well, at the time.
At the point, right? Okay, yeah, right.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one then.
That's a nice segue. I'll let you. I jumped straight in with Great Billy. So, of your initial reaction, where would you put Bad Blood as a?
Well, fuck yeah, of course. Jesus, how can I forget? They all kind of merge into each other.
With the magic Dwayne Johnson return at the end of the show, which led to absolutely nothing.
I'd put that as never watch again. I thought that was utterly. It's like he just watched SummerSlam and he went, "I'm going to do that."
I want to be part of the fun. I want a shot.
And then went, what the fuck? It's all going to be explained. Is it though? I don't think it is.
We'll see.
I don't think
he does like his long-term storytelling, Billy.
That stupid video of him going and shouting at all the trucks on the way out. Isn't that so cool? That's fucking cringing, man. It's like my dad going through the supermarket. I go, this is shite. This is fucking rubbish. See this?
If we take that outside of it, Punk and Drew, my match of the year, Nia and Bayley, Damien and Finn with their first match since the split.
It was really good, though. Really good, Damien.
Rhea and Liv, and then Cody and Roman versus the Bloodline. Yeah, where would you jump to straight away with this?
Well, this is where we risk having to move stuff around later, but I'm going to put it in as great because you were talking we were chatting about Punk and Drew going in, but it's all we were talking about when we came out. It
should have been the main event.
Should have been the main event, but I understand why it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it should have been the main event. I mean, fucking hell, they're on the bloody cover.
Yeah, that was the poster. The poster was the two guys, and
I don't
Dwayne robbed them.
Yeah, and exactly, and it was a hard match to follow. It was a hard match to follow. One of the best I'd seen without a title, and one of the best Hell in a Cell matches. And I'd kind of lost my way with Hell in a Cell matches, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
so I feel like these are done, and a great way to cap off their feud. I thought it was a great way to cap off their feud.
This is one of the only pay-per-views which I will turn to and say one match can define the whole show. Usually, I would I say no, a card needs to define the show. I can look at that one match and go, nope, that was enough for me for it to be great. Yeah, because it was, and some of the other stuff was good, as we kind of covered as well. So I'm fine with having it up in Great Billy.
That match on its own,
the end. Yeah, exactly.
That match on its own elevates it, and a good solid undercard. Hard to get right.
Then that was followed by Crown Jewel. We went from the heights of Berlin and Atlanta, Georgia for the Hell in a Cell Classic to a pay-per-view which quite literally would have been better off not happening, in my opinion, Billy.
Better than the one earlier in the year, I would say. Better.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think that it's in terms of match quality, definitely.
Yeah. But
would you still keep it in the bad category?
For match quality, I could lift it to mid.
Right. Okay.
If that's what we're talking about, I could lift it to mid. It was a curiosity seeing the matches.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon. Cody versus Gunther, and of course Nia versus Liv. Completely unfucking necessary.
The brand new Crown Jewel champions, Billy. This was so important.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We haven't done it yet.
Yep.
But the Saudi shows are shows that I will never watch again.
Yeah, I will never go back and revisit not any of those two shows, King and Queen of the Ring or Crown Jewel. Never.
Yeah.
But I don't think that necessarily means that they deserve to be like right down here. They still had stuff on the show that made them good, that made them watchable.
It's tricky for me because he's almost like never watch again. It's like never watch again. You know, it's kind of.
I'm probably not going to go back and watch like Backlash again, but it's you can kind of separate them, you know.
Yeah, you might watch matches from Backlash again, but you're never going to watch the show again. No, mid's the best I can do for this. And I just won't entertain because again, it's it's just not a pay-per-view anyone wanted, and I didn't think there was any concepts on it. And again, I think I watched this on my phone the next day. I don't think I definitely didn't watch it live.
Which then brought us on to, I believe, this would have been the first one that we ever reviewed on Wrestling Forever.
Yes.
And it was Survivor Series War Games, which both of us enjoyed at the time, looking back on it.
We did enjoy it. It had its faults.
Yeah.
But I can't give this anything more than good, mate.
No, I was going to say, listen, once again, similar to Bad Blood, if you isolate the main event, the big match, great match, fantastic, one of the best War Games matches in recent memory, the storytelling was amazing, but the rest of the card didn't feel too blockbuster, should I say.
Shinsuke
the women's match thrown together.
Yeah, Shinsuke versus Ellie was interesting and an interesting development, and was a chance to move Ellie Knight onto something else. Happy about a chance to reboot Shinsuke Nakamura, so happy about that. I enjoyed it as a show. I need a change in the Survivor Series, though. If you are going to have a War Games match, we need some elimination matches in there. We don't need 2 War Games and then just regular pay-per-view. Bring back the old Survivor Series format, please. I would love that. And I know someone could turn around, listen to the old man. It sounds like, well, what's old is new, because they haven't done it in fucking over a decade. And I don't need 2 War Games matches on the same show. I just don't.
No, 100%. I will say, though, Billy, just as we close off on Survivor Series, I thought it was better than the Royal Rumble.
Wow, that's fair. No, 100%. No, I'd agree, because, again...
There's just more matches.
More matches and just mere fun, I think.
Yeah.
What Royal Rumble was you can't fuck up a Royal Rumble too bad.
Nah. Unless you do a Vince McMahon style outrageous.
Both these quads, and they're all just sitting there going, what's he doing?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Saturday night's main event, to finish up before we get to the last one. Saturday night's main event, Billy. I find myself floating between good and mid. I think that I'm more inclined to jump to mid, to be honest.
Yeah, I think...
I mean, technically, it's not even a PLE.
Yeah, I'd agree. And mid is fair.
Yeah.
I just thought this was okay. It's like I said the other day, there was some good matches on there. Some great matches on there. It was great to see the development.
It was a good reintroduction to the format that is Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, which is brand new to a whole new generation of people, and I
exactly,
get that.
And it keeps the bar quite low for the rest to get better, I think.
We need but in saying that, they have to be careful, because this could fall into Saudi territory.
We saved the biggest till last. The jewel of the wrestling crown, you could say, the biggest event of the year, WrestleMania 40. Billy, I said that we both have to agree on it, so I'm going to get my opinion out the way. It's got to be up there for me. It's got to be up there for me.
Having been there at WrestleMania 30, you got to get that big number right. Yep. You have got to get that big number right, man. You can't fuck it up. See WrestleMania. See WrestleMania 10, maybe. I like WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You got to get that big number right. This for me was Hall of Fame. Is it flawless? No, it's not flawless.
No, of course not. I don't think any wrestling show is flawless.
But cup final, sitting watching it with your mates, I'm going against what I'd say. You're tweeting, you're fucking doing 2 screens where you're going for a shite. It's I really love this. Yep. The fact that there was man, I didn't even mind the videos. I mean, I'm sure someone timed it, and it was something ridiculous. Like, there was an hour worth of videos in this show.
But the show was that good that I thought it made you think they flew by.
Yeah.
Especially I was there, and I was freezing cold in night 1, Billy. It was like the Antarctic.
Can I say?
It was the
hearing
Arctic
how fucking
Circle.
cold it was. I had a friend that went to a random number WrestleMania. A wonderful comic called Chris Brooker, and he went there with his ex, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Philadelphia they went to. as well.
Right.
And he said it was so fucking cold.
Was it an outdoor Mania?
It was an outdoor Mania.
Was it by any chance 29 in New York? Because
29.
that was, New York. Because that was the WrestleMania they had to put heaters in the ring posts because it was that cold. I don't think it reached that cold in Philly, but it was not far away from it.
You gotta watch that. Let's take it back to Orlando. Like maybe I could chuck that as a suggestion. We'll all go and get Mickey Mouse pretzels, and we'll all go to fucking WrestleMania. No, I love this. Again, this is a WrestleMania I've watched back a couple of times. Not every second of it, because who would do that? You're a fucking maniac if you're doing that. But both nights were great. Mm-hmm. The only thing it was marred by was the fucking temperature, because you genuinely felt bad for the wrestlers and you genuinely felt bad for the crowd, who came alive in night 2.
They did. And I could see why they suffered as someone who was there and tried the hardest to get my section going with my raspy Scottish voice. I could see why people were a bit reluctant to shout and sing their hearts out on night 1, because it felt like if you moved, you would die. But Billy, I thought that this was the first time out of the 2 nights season since 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I thought it was the first night that they managed to perfect both nights, because I feel like there was always one that was top heavy. Night 1 at 39 was better than night 2, and night 2 it was a better. But this time round, it felt like they found the formula, and there was a good mix of surprises. And I mean, the main event with The Undertaker, Cena, and The Rock was just. I hate using there I froze again. I hate using the word. It was cinema. It was cinema, and I loved it.
I loved that. I would have loved it to have been Austin. Can I just say, I would have loved it to have been Austin, not Taker. I know that's Taker never got his last match in front of a crowd and all that. I hear exactly what you're saying. I'd have loved if it had been Austin.
I'd have loved it. This might be the only time we've disagreed in this video. I would have loved it to be Austin, because I would have got to say, I've seen Austin live.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was Taker. I'm
glad
it was.
That's the thing. I don't begrudge it being Taker. In many ways, it is perfect. For me, it was just like, do you know that I'm nitpicking, and that's what we're doing. Austin, like Rock versus Taker, I never think of. The feud happened.
Yeah,
feud happened, and
that's a good point.
And Taker represents the locker room leader, the benchmark, the franchise of several generations of wrestling. So Decades. What the fuck is The Rock doing? Mm-hmm. You know, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you've got one foot in with us. This isn't your place. What the fuck are you doing? It makes sense. It's Taker. Just like for spectacle, I would have loved to see Austin get a stunner on The Rock, and he can do that ridiculous fucking sell that he does. So. By that respect, I'm glad, because maybe I just want one last stunner from Steve Austin that he can go.
We'll get it.
That's the one.
Feel it.
It's
coming in Nevada.
That's us for 2024. We are nothing but a little child splashing in puddles, but we are now formed, and we've got some big ideas coming up, and more regular content in 2025. We probably could not have started this podcast at a more busy period for.
Oh no! But I mean that if anything, Billy, that sums us up as human beings.
Yes. When everyone else runs away from the fire, we run towards it with pets. We do. A couple of quick things I want to get some plugs in. Well, first of all, here's one. If you are watching this on the 31st of December, I want to say, raise a glass to the WWE Network.
Isn't it?
You looked after us well. You let us watch some of the worst wrestling and some of the best stuff in there. You gave us Camp WWE. You gave us Table of Three. Fucking good on yous. I will miss the drink. Oh no, you're not back on drinking the cactus, are you, Ryan?
Listen, the plastic cactus is what I need to go for nowadays.
So you know? I've got to say, it's very sad to see it go. I hope Netflix really come good, or that WWE Vault YouTube maybe becomes the go-to place.
Yeah.
For us to go and watch that content. It's been some great stuff going up on there, but I personally, for a wrestling fan, like I got those tapes at the start. Man, I didn't even need to think about the tapes and the DVDs. It was all there for me. The fucking dream, man. And I am very sad to see it go. I really, really am. And I hope
it's something that we should dive into in the next normal podcast.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it. But a couple of good things have happened. First of all, if you're a fan of Insane Championship Wrestling, of course, you love the commentary on Triller Plus. But as well as that, there is the incredible wrestling that's on there. And we are going to be back with ICW on January the 12th. Tickets are now available from universe.com. Get your tickets to come and see us live or join us on Triller Plus. We would love to see you there. Great night of action and some big moving things. We're on the road to the Square Go. One of my favourite times of year. We're on the road to Square Go. What's going to happen with Rudo and Kenny? What's going to happen with the tag team division? What's going to happen with the women's title? So much incredible things. And I don't know much about much, and I don't know anything, but if the surprises are going to happen, they're going to happen now. So make sure to check that out. And very quickly, what was the other thing I was going to say? Watch it. What the fuck? Oh, and ICW have launched their own on-demand service. If you have never watched Insane Championship Wrestling, or maybe you're new to it, you're only checking it out on Triller Plus, and you want to go and check it out and find a little bit more of the history, well, some of the greatest moments of ICW, its entire lineage is now on ICW Vault. Ryan, we're going to have you on there very soon because there's going to be some incredible stuff on there, but it's going all the way to the Hydro. It's going back all the way through ICW's history. You're going to see everything from, the New Age Click. You're going to see Ofcom. You're going to see the Hydro. So many incredible things. You can see the evolution of some of the big name stars of today, and you don't want to miss it. It is where the insanity was born, and in order for us to go in the future, you got to take a look back. Honestly, incredible stuff on there, and only $2.99 a month, and you can watch it on YouTube, which means you can watch it on your phone on the way to work. You can watch it on your telly. It's an absolute bargain, so make sure to check that out. Right, very quickly, would you like to do some pluggage for your pod?
Nah, not really. No, I'm joking.
Right, shall we get out of here, sir?
Yes, let's do it before my internet actually explodes.
He has been Ryan Fitzsimons. I have been what's left of Billy Kirkwood, and that was 2024. We'll see you later. Goodbye.